Welcome back to Fighting Words. I'm Chris Maxwell, joined by Andreas Hale, but also we have a special guest this week, and that is, you may have heard of him, two-time welterweight world champion Shawn Porter is joining the show today. So excited to have him. Now, Shawn, this is your first time on Fighting Words, and normally Andreas and our other co-host, Tom, they exchange fighting words, but we don't need you guys to do that today because there was enough of that happening at the press conference for Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. It got pretty heated. So before we even talk about the fight itself and your experience fighting both of these fighters, what was your take from that press conference as far as, yeah, of course it sold the fight, but do you think that was just genuine heat coming from Spence's family towards Crawford?
Both. I think that the heat is going to come both ways. Crawford's family is not shy. Errol's family is not shy, nor is Dallas or Omaha. And everywhere in between. The one thing that I have learned about fight fans, they are very passionate about who they are rooting for, and also very passionate about what they think and believe about a fight or other fighters. And that being said, I appreciated what Terrence led into when he got up on the podium, which was, hey, let's keep the peace. Let's let all the fighting happen in the ring on fight night with him and I. And it kind of still took a turn the other way. But I think that is the bottom line for this sport, is we have to learn how to separate the business from the personal and understand that everything that happens in the ring, all of that is business, So nonetheless, man, it made for a lively press conference with two fighters who aren't really known for talking, And so I thought that really helped as well.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like they don't talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now we had the opportunity to see them.
Two fighters who are very point blank.
Yeah.
And they're so point blank because of their skills and their style. I was always like that.
Yep.
I was very point blank until I realized people want to hear it anyway. People need to hear it anyway. And then after that, I was like, all right, I know I'm going to make the same statement 20 times before the fight, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have to do it. Those guys really haven't moved past that. And for them to both be very point blank and come up here and be very, direct, it was interesting and added a dimension to this fight that I don't think was always there.
But bro, you've been in the ring with both of them. I don't want to talk about the fight itself, but when you look in their eyes, what did you see? Because you was looking at both of their eyes with stare downs. This was different.
When I faced off with Terrence out here before the fight, I think we was like 6 weeks away from the fight or something like that. And he showed me how serious he was. I saw him today on the podium, and they did their face off, and when they turned to look at the crowd, he's swaying back and forth. He's mentally checked in for this fight. Energy is at fight level already. And like I said on my podcast, the Porter Way podcast, the good part about it is he's like that all the time. If you're someone who's amped up and you're not amped up like that all the time, then chances are you're going to be depleting your energy. He's like that all the time. So, but to see him very real this soon is both of them mean hurt. But Terrence, I think he shows how much he means. You know what I mean? That hurt business. Terrence Errol's about that on fight night.
So one of the things that I thought was really interesting that you don't really see a lot with these face-offs is during the press conference, they asked, what does he do better than me? And Errol Spence actually answered it pretty genuinely. He's like, Terrence has better footwork. He's better at this, but I'm better at that. You've been in the ring with them. What do you think is one of their most underrated and undervalued skill sets that you yourself probably wasn't prepared for when you got in the ring?
Wow. The one it's easier to say with Terrence, he truly is a master thinker in the ring. I could see that boy thinking, and I could not figure out what he was thinking. That I always considered to be something that was God-given for me, to be able to just know what a fighter is going to do, what a fighter is thinking. I was not able to figure that out at all against Terrence. To me, that's what solidified him as being special. Not the speed, not the power, none of that. To me, it was the fact that I don't know what he's thinking. And also I could see that, this dude he means hurt every single round. But Errol, I would say maybe Errol's best attribute is probably his poise. Errol's very, very poised in the ring, has that poker face. He will show small signs of frustration, but they come and go like the snap of a finger. You know what I mean? He doesn't stay and moments very long, if at all. And that's because not very many moments come his way anyway. But I would say his poise. And why his poise is necessary is because the other side of that, and Terrence is not going to give any signs in it either. You know what I mean? So both guys are going to have to be poised, and both guys are going to have to stay locked and loaded, razor focused the entire fight.
Man, look, everybody's asked you about fighting them both, right?
Yeah.
But how honored are you to have the opportunity that you fought everybody? Like when we talk about your career, you was one calling for fights when nobody was talking about fighting each other.
Yeah.
I remember you getting in Keith's face.
Yeah.
And that fight eventually happened.
That fight happened too, yeah.
Like how satisfied it was, like your career. I know everybody asks, is Shawn coming back? We know you ain't coming back.
I'm extremely satisfied with my career, but then like this right here, when you talk about both these guys, I showed up at the Grand Arrivals, and this is the third Grand Arrivals I've been to. I went to Tank and Ryan, and there was one other fight out here that I had gone to, and so I had the opportunity to come here for this one, and nobody asked me to talk, get on the stage and talk at those other Grand Arrivals. Ray over there is just running on time. He's got to talk the whole time, and they know that I was here. They say, hey, can you go up there and just talk for a little bit with Ray? Yeah, no problem. I really think that for the first time in a very long time, if at all, in boxing, there's someone who's been able to fight both fighters, articulate what happened in both those fights, and make people become even more interested in the fight. And so, man, I'm more than anything, I'm happy that I'm where I'm at now in life, and I'm able to push boxing forward. You know what I mean? I don't think that boxing's on my shoulders by any means, but I'm definitely doing my best to pull it forward and put it in a space that it hasn't been in a long time.
Well, and we keep hearing people saying that, this fight is a flashback to the 80s and the great fights at that time. And you obviously had a stellar career, but this is the first time they're fighting for undisputed in the four-belt era. So it just feels different. So to that point about, excelling the sport, do you think that this fight is what can really redefine, more so than maybe the Jake Pauls of the world and those YouTube fights, can really redefine boxing and bring in a better audience to say, like, hey, these fights, they're good. You should be watching.
I'm going to say this right now, and this is kind of the creed that I kind of came up with before I retired, but this is what needs to happen. This fight, boxing wins, the fans win 100%, but the only way boxing truly wins is if the fan base doubles, triples, if people are more hungry for the rematch than they are for this first fight, which they're supposed to be after you get a great glimpse of what this rematch could be like, you know what I mean? Fighters have 3 jobs. You got your promotion and training in training camp. You got your fight on fight night, and then you got your post-fight training and also promoting. What these guys have to do after this fight, win, lose, draw, is go everywhere and talk about what they did, what they felt, how it went the way it went, why it went the way that they went, and look forward to the rematch. People, you're your hottest right before a fight and literally right after a fight. Neither of them can afford, and boxing cannot afford for them to waste that time after the fight with a vacation or with I don't want to talk to nobody, I'm done talking, I just want to rest, I want to be with my family. Take a week, continue to do interviews and all that kind of stuff, because that's the best way to make sure this fight, the fan base of this fight improves.
Shawn, I'm about to say something to you, and I said this, and some people looked at me crazy. You know, we haven't had a fight like this since Ali Frazier. Let me explain. Undefeated. You know me. Let me explain. Undefeated. Top 5 pound for pound. Same weight class. Undisputed. Black fighters. When Leonard fought Hearns, Leonard had a loss. Right? When Floyd fought Shane already had losses. We even had 2 black fighters, top 5 pound for pound, undefeated, fighting for all the marbles since Ali Frazier. The only other one that can come close is Riddick Bowe and Holyfield. When I say that, what does that mean to you?
If that's this is history. That's all I truly wanted to be about when I turned pro was I want to do something that I saw on TV that people are going to remember forever. I want to do something that people are going to remember forever. I believe that I've done that, and I believe that I'm going to do so much more. But for these guys that have this opportunity, I wish people were around them explaining those things to them. It's cool that they understand that this is for undisputed and y'all both, I'm undefeated, I'm going to take all this kind of stuff. explain
I
that
told
to
Errol.
me because
Errol was like,
that,
yeah, he didn't even, like, we haven't had that with black fighters, because usually Floyd had to fight Oscar, right, or Conor, or these other fighters. We don't have two black fighters at the top of the game like that.
look at what Terrence started off with. He started off with a peace treaty, for the sake of words, and it kind of went a different direction and all that kind of stuff. And it was what it was. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna just go ahead and keep it all the way real. My fight with Errol was being talked about not being on pay-per-view, simply because it was black versus black, and we don't know how that's gonna sell. But what we do know is if we put this on network television, we'll get X amount and you'll get X amount. Everybody wins. And Errol argued, "Hey, I'm a pay-per-view fighter. This fight has to be on pay-per-view." These fighters need to understand that there's so much more involved in the sport. Once you turn pro, it becomes a business. That means it's now politics. That means now it's all about race this and push it forward that. And all the best thing that these fighters can do is hold each other's hands up after this fight. Whether you like it or not, that's one of the best things they could do.
The nuts and bolts of the fight. Forget a prediction. Is there any way in your mind, knowing how these two fight, that this could be a bad fight?
No. I think to people who are not true fight fans or don't understand the essence of boxing, the X's and O's of boxing, I do think that we're going to get a very, very strategic fight for up to 5 rounds, 4 to 5 rounds. That's if somebody don't land something very big and very clean that upsets the other. And I even think that in that case, that poise that I talked about earlier, both guys are still going to remain poised. If anybody gets upset and heated, I think it's going to be Terrence. Terrence is the one that's going to really try to push those buttons, you know what I mean? But I think for 5 to 6 rounds, this could be that chess match. And the chess match is beautiful when it's understood. You know what I mean? So I think to some people, it's kind of slow. But for people who really know boxing, it's going to be, until it ends, it's going to be amazing.
Errol and Terrence had black Air Force Ones on.
Both of them had on.
What that tell you? You know about black Air Force Ones. You don't?
I don't.
Black Air Force Ones mean you going to work. Yeah.
I shouldn't say.
How you gonna cover the mic?
Yeah.
But yo, that means going to work. Like Errol was like, I double knotted. I said, damn, Errol.
Yeah.
I said, damn. And Terrence won today.
Yeah. Both of them.
That's mentality, man.
Come on.
I know you don't give predictions, and that's understandable, but we kind of have a fun way, I should say, to determine who we think is going to win. Speaking of a throwback to the 80s, you may have seen this before. So you and Andreas are going to battle it out. You're going to pick a fighter, and you're going to fight for their head. This is how we're going to keep track of who is going to win on Saturday night.
And this is what I'm going to do to get myself off the hook. I'm choosing red, and I'm only choosing red because that's my son's favorite color. All right? So if Red's head go up and you say, oh, Crawford just lost, you pick Crawford a little, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm picking the red because my son, that's my son's favorite color. So simple as that.
You pick who you want to. I mean, if he's red, you're blue. What fighter are you taking?
I'll be Errol then.
Okay.
I'll be Errol.
So this is highly scientific.
That's how we do this.
All right, heads are down.
Ooh, you know what you're doing.
Ready and fight.
I gotta get that right hand. Come on, Errol.
Oh, quick too, baby. Quick. For the one in red. We don't know who's gonna be in the red corner.
According to the highly scientific Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Terrence Crawford.
Red corner,
which was Terrence Crawford, is going to win on Saturday night, but we'll see. Shawn, thank you so much for joining Fighting Words. It was fun.
Did I have too much energy for that? Was that too much?
No, you're fantastic. Right. We appreciate you. We appreciate all you do, and hopefully we can have you back sometime. But for Fighting Words, I'm Chris Maxwell. For Andreas Hale and Shawn Porter, we will see you next week.